Hi everyone, Andy here. It is time for the Crypto Conversation weekly market sentiment report. Before we get into it, need to shout out our new sponsor, Masterworks. Yes, indeed, because with market volatility so high and the expected return for stocks and bonds so low, I tend to agree with the analysts at JP Morgan who have declared that alternative assets are no longer optional. And that's good news for platforms that provide access to the top alternative asset classes such as Masterworks. Yes, indeed, Masterworks has solidified itself as the platform for investing in contemporary art. Masterworks is on a mission to democratize art investing, which is a $1.7 trillion asset class. How do they do this? Well, Masterworks is the first platform to make it possible to purchase shares that represent an investment in multi-million dollar artworks from artists such as Banksy, Kaws, and Basquiat at a price point tailored to you. Since 2017, Masterworks has sold a number of iconic artworks, with each returning over 30% net IRR to investors. Now, legally, we need to point out, of course, that past performance is no guarantee of future results. Now, if you want to get in early, just go to masterworks.art/crypto conversations and you can skip their waitlist. Yes, indeed, that's masterworks.art/crypto conversations, and there are important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. All right, and now it is on with the show. So if we start over here at bravenewcoin.com, should point out, of course, that you can listen to this just as a regular podcast, like you always do on Spotify or Apple, but I'm recording video today as well. So the best places to follow along, what I've got on screen is actually the Brave New Coin YouTube channel. Let's just search Brave New Coin on YouTube and you'll see what I can see. Otherwise, just listen to me talk. I'm really just going to go through just a few headlines that I saw on crypto Twitter today. And something could be brewing for Bitcoin, I reckon. So yeah, let's roll that out as a narrative, see if it flies, see what we can see. So if we start at Brave New Coin, we can see Bitcoin at the moment, it's a little bit 46,683 US. And on the ELX, the Ethereum Liquid Index, Ethereum is 3,500. So, Ethereum doing reasonably well at the moment. Bitcoin just kind of treading water, kind of consolidating after that big jump up a week or so ago. But I think it's good to see a little bit of momentum return to the crypto markets. That is for sure. We can see that on the Fear and Greed Index, Crypto Fear and Greed Index, neutral at the moment. Spent most of the year so far in fear or extreme fear. So good to see. Last week even we saw a little bit of greed just after that big jump up, and now we're just neutral, which seems about right. So if we look at the actual Bitcoin chart on the BLX, the Brave New Coin Bitcoin Liquid Index, yeah, we can see that really. So have spent most of the year just in this range, I guess, with mid-30s at the bottom, mid-40s at the top, and last week, just broke out of that range for the first time. A lot of people were expecting lower, so it was nice to see it go higher, I suppose. And well, that's the tricky part, really. Where to next? Can we maintain the slightly bullish momentum? That'll be something to watch out for in the weeks and months ahead. All right, so the fine folk at Glassnode, they put out their weekly on-chain report yesterday. Just there's a few good charts and interesting data points in here, so always worth a look. So they start off and they say, of course, it was a couple of weeks ago that the 19th millionth Bitcoin was mined, and they say a number of large public buyers have sparked renewed interest in Bitcoin as pristine collateral, with both shrimps and whales leading the widespread coin accumulation, with a couple of big buyers, which we'll get into. So those big buyers, of course, really were, they say macro strategy, but I think they mean micro strategy, Michael Saylor and co. And also the Lunar Foundation Guard, buying quite a lot of Bitcoin, essentially to act as a reserve for the Lunar stablecoin. So those were significant buyers. And really, as they say, so those significant buyers, as we've said, Lunar Foundation, they bought around 21,000 Bitcoin over the last 9 days. That's a good amount. But they also say, does Glassnode, accumulation is being driven by both shrimps, which is people that have less than 1 Bitcoin, and whales. To be a whale, whales have more than 1,000 Bitcoin. But the point they're making is both those holders or investors, both small and large, are both accumulating Bitcoin at these levels. Just said, it's a nice milestone. 19 million Bitcoin have now been mined. So there's only 2 million to go. And of course, those 2 million to go, it's going to take a little while as the halvings just keep dropping that supply back. It's going to take a while for those final 2 million to be issued. So, what's happening? It's a week of historically strong accumulation. Could be a supply shock building. Just significant and widespread accumulation happening, according to the on-chain guys. Even here, there's outflows. There's people are taking their Bitcoin off the exchange. I mean, the on-chain guys have been saying this for a while, but hey, it's what the data says. So who is accumulating? Yeah, well, we've covered that. Everyone really. Whales and shrimp, and entities such as MicroStrategy. All right. Summary. What do we say? Bitcoin market has seen a number of weeks of historically strong accumulation by shrimp and whales, and bigger buyers such as the Lunar Foundation and MicroStrategy. In general, the market appears to be viewing Bitcoin and its role in the future economy with somewhat renewed optimism. And this is clearly reflected in the net trend of outflows from exchanges, and with the 19th millionth Bitcoin now mined, in general accumulation exceeding daily issuance by many multiples. That's why we get this supply shock. The scarcity and pristine nature of Bitcoin as collateral may well be returning to the foreground once again. So that's good to hear. Mildly bullish, I think. What's interesting, of course, is even though they say that all entities are buying Bitcoin, just slowly accumulating, you don't see this. You don't see any interest from kind of, I guess, wider mainstream retail at the moment on Google search trends, for example, which to me is mildly bullish as well, because price is just doing its thing. It's responding fine. Not a lot of interest from mainstream just at the moment. So when and if that does happen, fireworks, of course. Intel have announced the launch of their second generation Bitcoin mining chip, dubbed the block scale ASIC. And that is going to be, it's just going to be much more energy efficient. That's going to start shipping in the third quarter of this year. And will be interesting to see Intel's decades of R&D come to the market there. So it's just more ASICs coming to market, more energy efficient ASICs. Now, did you see this? I thought this is very interesting. Rishi Sunak, who is the Chancellor of the Exchequer and a Member of Parliament for Richmond over in the UK, so he announced today that they want to make the UK a global hub for crypto assets, and they want to see the businesses of tomorrow and the jobs they create in the UK. So UK government have, and they've said the same about they wanting to see positive legislation for stablecoins, to recognise stablecoins as a valid form of payment in the UK, because they recognise the potential of this technology. So if we go to and in addition, Her Majesty's Treasury, the UK government's Economic and Finance Ministry, they said today, again, it's Mr. Sunak, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, they've asked the Royal Mint in the UK to create an NFT to be issued by the summer. As a kind of, I'm not sure, like as a proof of concept. They just say that this decision shows the forward-looking approach we're determined to take towards crypto assets in the UK. So this is what they said on their website, UK government website. Government sets out plan to make UK a global crypto asset technology hub. Government has today announced moves that will see stablecoins recognised as a valid form of payment as part of wider plans to make Britain a global hub for crypto asset technology and investment. So you can see it all here. I mean, this is just a summary, but the broad strokes are they're going to introduce a financial market infrastructure sandbox so firms can experiment and innovate. They're going to establish a crypto asset engagement group to work more closely with the industry. They're going to explore ways of enhancing the competitiveness of the UK tax system to encourage further crypto asset development. And they're going to work with the Royal Mint on an NFT this summer to recognise and, this forward-thinking approach. So, yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Quite interesting to see the UK come out and, it's easy to say this stuff, harder to put it into practice, so we'll just have to see. But, again, mildly bullish, I think. This was from a week or two ago, but Ray Dalio, did you see this? Bridgewater, it's just another signal, they're going to start investing in, Dalio's Bridgewater hedge fund is going to start taking positions in crypto assets. Second half of this year is really the takeaway. And again, it's mildly bullish, of course, because, a lot of people look to see what Ray is doing, what Bridgewater are doing, and Dalio, of course, famously skeptical on Bitcoin for a long time. Then last year came out and said that he actually owned some himself because he's worried about inflation, and well, that was a smart thing to do, wasn't it? So again, mildly bullish. All right, Elon. Did you see what Elon's done? Madman, absolute madman. Elon Musk has bought a 9.2% stake in Twitter, making him the largest shareholder in Twitter. Talk about a mic drop. Why would he do this? Well, because he's slightly crazy, but I guess because he was tweeting about this last month. He thinks that Twitter don't do enough to support free speech, and well, obviously he's now Twitter's biggest shareholder, and I guess he'll be popping into those board meetings and waving a big stick. So something to keep an eye on. Twitter stock up significantly today on this news, but not everyone is a fan of Elon, of course, and man, I imagine there'll be some real tension behind the scenes at Twitter at the moment as this news is digested. So nothing else to say really except grab your popcorn if you're a Twitter user, which I am, of course, because this is going to get interesting real quick. Also, did you see this? This was announced last week. Greenpeace have teamed up with what's his name, Chris Larson, who's one of the guys behind Ripple XRP, to start a campaign called Change the Code. The idea is that they want Bitcoin to change from proof of work to proof of stake, because they see proof of work as bad for the environment, basically. So Yeah, I mean, it all smells pretty bad, doesn't it? This guy Larson, I think he's just cooking his own book. He's very much interested in Ripple and XRP becoming perhaps more relevant than it is, and he's going to attack Bitcoin to achieve those aims. And he's wrote Greenpeace. Anyway, so I just mentioned this as it'll be interesting to see how much traction they get. This is going to be one of the big battlegrounds around Bitcoin, of course, over the next few years is about Bitcoin and proof of works energy use. Complex topic, of course. But one of the other big things happening in Bitcoin at the moment is Bitcoin 2022. It's the conference that kicks off in 20 hours from now in Miami, and just kind of talking about at the beginning how this might be something brewing in Bitcoin for this year. Could be some big news announced at this conference, so we'll just have to see. I mean, we'll know in 2 days or so. But man, the speaker lineup is epic. So you've got everyone running through here from Safedine Amoris, the author of the Bitcoin Standard. You've got Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador. Could be something big from him, I think. You got Peter Thiel. Be fascinating to hear Mr. Thiel's latest thoughts on Bitcoin, where he is at the moment. Nick Szabo, one of the very early Bitcoin thinkers, libertarian thinkers, was a possible candidate to be Satoshi for a while. Don't think he was, but yeah, Nick Szabo, very interesting character. Be fascinating to see what he has to say. Nick Carter, Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, Lynn Alden, of course, Francis Ngannou, who is the UFC heavyweight champion. I didn't know he was a Bitcoiner, so I'll be fascinated to see what he has to say. Eric Weinstein, he of course manages a Thiel Capital for Peter Thiel, and well, Eric has been falling down or dabbling in falling down through the Bitcoin rabbit hole over the last year or so. So be interesting to hear him. Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson is another one who has kind of been red-pilled over the last 6 months or so. And this could be Mr. Peterson's coming out party. Be great to see if he comes out and tells his audience that he is a full-fledged Bitcoin supporter. I thought this was an interesting pick of Jordan, that he's certainly characterizing himself as a rugged, black and white individual there in his profile pic, isn't he? Pomp will be there. Kathy Wood from ARK Invest. Adam Back, and that's the top line speakers, and then you've got this whole list of other speakers as well. Very impressive people on that list as well. So it's nothing else to say. It's an incredible lineup of speakers, really, and I think there's going to be some big announcements that come out of this conference. Of course, the whole El Salvador thing, that all came out of Bitcoin 2021 a year ago. So look for this conference in 2 days. Some big news, I think. Stay tuned. Well, that's really it for the show today. Just a quick one. Just wanted to round out those kind of big data points and tell you to make sure that you're keeping abreast of what is going to happen out of the Bitcoin 2022 conference. It's in Miami. If you're in Miami, go along. Otherwise, of course, it's going to be all over social media and YouTube. All right. That's today's show, folks. Thanks to our new sponsor, Masterworks. And thank you for listening. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin.